Hello, everyone. This is Jay Dobbins, your host of the Marvel DC Universe Fan Club. We are now at episode 202, and I'll be continuing my discussion on Spider-Man leaving the MCU. So, I'm not giving my hopes up, but I think that negotiations are likely still going on. So, yeah, but yeah, let's not give our hopes up yet. This is not set in stone, so don't be going on a rampage on social media. But anyway, let's begin. Let's wind the clock back in 2015. Sony's and Disney's first deal. So the agreement was that Disney gets all the merchandise, and they get to use Spider-Man characters in the MCU, and get to use Spider-Man in theme parks. And let's not forget that they offered 5% off the top of the box office for Spider-Man movies. So this was all Disney's idea at first. So they was like, you know what? We'll take 5% of the profits. So I'm thinking, okay, so they're like, okay, cool, deal. Sounds fair. So yesterday, Disney offered 50%, a 50-50 split on the cost and profits. And this is days before D23. So I'm thinking, like, wait a minute, why would they do that? But it's because Spider-Man Far From Home made over $1 billion in the box office worldwide. So, but them alternate, Disney alternating the contract, their 50-50 split, it would have been fair. And that, but the problem is that, Disney didn't cut Sony in on the merchandise and the theme park profits. So that's the problem right there. And, it's, of course, a lot of people saying that, the newspapers, the social media, tabloids, everything, the headlines, everything, they're saying that Sony's being greedy. But honestly, if they read the details very carefully and learn and read the details very carefully, there's a twist. See, everybody's thinking that Sony's being greedy, but it's really Disney. That's a twisted plot. So, Sony has the upper hand, because Disney has more to lose. So, and like I said, that's good thing for Sony because Sony doesn't really have much to lose. So, but yeah, a decision between Sony and Disney must be reached before D23. So D23 is a few days away. So because D3 Disney's going to be making announcements, especially in the theme park. So I'll get to that later. But so yeah, if they get back at the table for negotiations, renegotiations or whatever, they might walk out with 30%, or they might Disney might be fine with 10. But if Disney wants 50% of the profits, then they should split 50-50 on the merchandise and theme park as well, which Disney's not going to do. I mean, honestly, I couldn't even believe that they would even go to Sony demanding that they want 50% of the profits, but we also keep the profits for the merchandise and the theme parks. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute. If they do that, they should have known. Well, they probably knew that. Okay, all this negotiation, 50% of the profits, along with 100% of the merchandise and theme parks. You're getting more than Sony. Sony's not even getting a piece of the pie on the merchandise and theme parks and the comic books that involve the MCU Spider-Man. So yeah, that definitely sounds like greed. But a lot of people think that, oh, Disney has the cards, but Sony, they're the ones that have the cards. Sony has a leverage, and I'll explain more on that. But yeah, the Spider-Man. So yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home made over $1 billion, and it was because of the MCU, which I believe that part is true. But let's not forget Venom made $856 million worldwide out of the MCU. So Disney wasn't part of that. And let's not forget that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won an Oscar for Best Animated Film. So yeah, turns out not only does Sony have the cars, but they have the leverage. That's why. So, and another thing, and another reason why Disney has more to lose. Now that Spider-Man is no longer part of the MCU, they run into a small problem. So, um, Disney's adding a new little theme park called Marvel Land, which is the new part in Disneyland. So yeah, that little new attraction. So yeah, that's under construction, and the Spider-Man ride is the main attraction. That's like if you look at the freaking blueprint, that's like the biggest part of Marvel Land. Well, the rest are like small parts, but the Spider-Man ride is like the biggest part. So how the heck are you gonna get that done? How are you gonna get the Spider-Man ride completed if Sony pulls out? See, you gotta think. Sony, like I said, Disney has more to lose. Period. But yeah, but when Disney came to Sony demanding 50% of the profits along with 100% of the merchandise and theme parks, I believe, in my opinion, I think that Disney was too aggressive on the negotiations, and that's what caused Sony to pull out. So, but Sony called them out. Now the reason why, because Spider-Man fans, MCU fans, were wanting to boycott Sony. Meaning that they didn't want to buy any more of their merchandise, their PlayStation game consoles, or PlayStation games. So Sony wasn't having that. So that's why they did a little tweet. So this was I think a statement that they made on Twitter, which is yeah. So yeah, I'm looking that up right now, but I hate these mobile devices. But honestly, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give kudos to Sony. Sony ain't backing down. And I think that they're the ones that are gonna come up on top at some point. A lot of people think it's Disney. They're like, hey, Disney's gonna buy, Disney could buy Sony. Within 5 or 10 years from now. I'm like, wait a minute, we don't know that. As long as Sony has money to keep the company alive, and of course keep the freaking lights on, they shouldn't have anything to worry about. Because right now, it's like Disney has their hand in everything, and that's unbelievable. See, a lot of people say it's a good thing, but it's really a bad thing. So I'm trying to think. Okay, so yeah, and honestly, I don't want to have to choose between Sony and Disney. Like I said, Spider-Man hands, is owned by Sony, and the other characters are owned by Disney. Well, except for the distribution rights on the Hulk. But anyway, um, but yeah. So this is a tweet, or well, three tweets that were from Sony Pictures, and they said in their tweet, they said, and I quote, "Much of today's news about Spider-Man has mischaracterized recent decisions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. We're disappointed, but respect Disney's decision not to have him continue as a lead producer of our next live-action Spider-Man film. We hope this might change in the future, but understand that the many new responsibilities that Disney has given him, including all their newly added Marvel properties, do not allow time for him to work on IP they do not own. Kevin is terrific, and we are grateful for his help and guidance and appreciate the path he has helped us help put us on, which we will continue." End quote. So yeah, those were the tweets. That was a statement. Well, not it wasn't just only a tweet, but it was also a statement made by Sony Pictures. So yeah, moving on. But yeah, Sony, everybody should know, people should know by now that Sony will not give up their larger, piece of their business, and they won't punk out to Disney. So that's a good thing. You know, like 20th Century Fox, they punked out. You know, giving up all their Deadpool, you know, giving up the Deadpool franchise and the X-Men franchise and the Fantastic Four franchise to Disney. And look what happened. Disney fired all the people in 20th Century Fox. So yeah, gotta be careful. But anyway, so yeah, the reason why Sony's not gonna punk out, because they they have investors too, and you already know how they feel about their money. They want to make sure they get that money too. So so having you know giving all the Spider-Man rights to Disney, in my opinion, that's financial suicide. So yeah, I'm like I said, my opinion, and hopefully, I don't want to alienate anyone, but this is my opinion, okay? I think that Sony is sticking to their guns. They're holding the line. How many companies do that? You know. But anyway, so Tom Holland and John Watts signed for two more films. So we'll see how that goes. But a lot of people are wondering what are the two films going to be like. So I'm thinking like, okay, you know, Spider-Man versus Venom, that could work, and a Spider-Man Maximum Carnage movie that includes Venom. Both Venom and Spider-Man taking on Carnage. Now that could work. That would be the perfect opportunity right there to put Tom Holland in the Venomverse, since he's signed up for two more films. But not only, but why stop there? But now, so now that Spider-Man is no longer part of the MCU, Sony has more freedom. They can move forward with other properties like Sinister Six, Spider-Gwen, a live Miles Morales film, Return of the Osborns, Morbius, Black Cat, Silver Sable, Silk, Craven, and of course the possible Maximum Carnage film. And while while Tom Holland is still on contract, he can cross over to those films as well. So that can help, as far as the the Sony cinematic universe of Spider-Man, But as far as like characters like Ned, the MCU MJ, and Happy, I don't think that they're not going to be included into the movies. that are going to be produced in, by Sony now, from now on. But anyway, but let's not forget, Sony, Disney may have the money, but Sony has the cards. And in my opinion, the ones with the money have more to lose. Anyway, so we're gonna see what happens. But if they can reach a decision before D23, that'll be awesome. But honestly, I think you know either they're renegotiating behind the scenes or they're playing chicken. And I think that Disney is the ones, they're the ones that are gonna cave pretty much. So, but anyway, that concludes this episode, of course. Well, and I will keep you posted if anything new comes up on, Disney and Spider-Man, Disney and Sony, pretty much. So I'll let you guys know. But that concludes this. I already said that. Anyway, feel free to visit us, like us on Facebook. We're available on iTunes, Google Play Music apps, Spotify, and of course YouTube.